This is Swiss and Chips, your British guide to Switzerland. Hello and welcome to Swiss and Chips. I'm Jo Faye.
And I'm Simon Sried.
And this is a special edition of the podcast coming to you direct from the Swiss Alps this week.
Adelboden.
From Adelboden. Now we need the cowbell. But today we've been doing something super awesome, which we'll come back to in a second. But first of all, we just want to thank you all for a really, really fantastic year. Thank you so much for listening, for giving us a rating on iTunes, for giving us feedback, for commenting in our Facebook group, Switzerland for English Speakers, and for writing on our website as well, swissandchips.com. It's been really awesome to hear from you.
Yeah, we have started a bit more than like half a year ago, more like 8 months or something.
Almost a year, I think.
And yeah, it's just nice. I think we started quite small, and now we have this small, nice group together, and so we are really happy, and we are always happy to hear from you. So
totally, yes.
Thank you very much.
Woohoo! So we're just going to try and keep our podcast up, recording it every other week with kind of similar topics. If you've got anything you'd like us to talk about, by the way, then let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And
yeah, it's totally true. I think very often people have questions, but we don't really want to make kind of a how-to podcast only. So that's why we also want to give you a bit of a feeling. How is it in Switzerland? Where could you go? How is the Swiss lifestyle? How is the culture? And yeah, we try to make that a bit more in the future. So not too much on facts, because you can read that all on the internet. But we try to give you a bit of a feeling. How is it to live in Switzerland as an expat? And I try to give you a bit of a Swiss view.
Exactly.
And that's why also we chose this topic today, to give you a bit more of a typical Swiss thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of kind of travel inspo, you could say.
Now we built it up. What is the topic of today?
Drum roll. So today we went ice skating on a frozen Alpine lake on Lake Oeschinen, otherwise known as
Osechinensee.
Genau.
Yeah, it was really, really awesome, has to be said.
Oh, yeah, truly spectacular. And the thing is, this mountain lake, it didn't freeze over for about 19 years in a row. And then a couple of years ago, it started freezing over again. And it was a huge event in Switzerland, in all the newspapers, and people were going in drones to go and ice skate on this frozen lake.
Yeah, I think the big thing was some American newspapers picked it up, and then it somehow got viral and people knew about it, and then they all came. And now it froze. It did froze. It frozen. It has
froze
frozen.
over.
It froze over again. And yeah, there were many people, but not so much, not loads. And it was the first day, so you still got the chance to go this year.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, we read, I think you saw it on the lake's Facebook page, or did you read it in a newspaper a couple of days ago?
Somewhere I saw it that it has frozen over again.
And what happens is they have a kind of frozen ice specialist who goes out to check that the ice is thick enough, and then he declares the lake open for people to go on.
Yeah, with the drill, he drills into the ice, and then he sees if it's thick enough everywhere, and some parts usually are excluded, but most of the lake is good to go at the moment.
Yeah, totally. So Lake Oeschinen is quite high up in the mountains, actually.
Yeah, it's a bit more than 1,500 meters above sea level, and it's quite a big mountain lake, I would say. It's, I wrote it down, it's 1.6 kilometer length, and the width is 1 kilometer.
Yeah, so basically when you come up to it, it kind of spreads out in front of you in a wide expanse of frozen ice, basically.
Exactly. It has to be said, in summer you can go it's very nice for swimming or for hiking or combined.
Yep.
And you should take a servola with you and make a nice fire. And yeah, now in winter it was quite magical. So
definitely. Basically what happens is you go up there in a cable car, and then when you get to the top, there's a sort of... how long would you say the walk is to the lake from the cable car?
About 20, 30 minutes maybe.
Yeah, depending on maybe who you're going with.
Yeah.
And how fast you're walking. And you walk kind of through the trees. In the winter, there are kind of ski piste that cross the path. Yeah. So there's some people going
sledging,
by cable
skis,
cars and pulley lifts and on skis and stuff. You're surrounded by trees and snow. It's just amazing. And then you walk along this little path, and then finally the lake comes into view at the end of the path. And
yeah,
it
it's quite
spreads
magical.
Out in front of you.
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
true.
Cool.
And I think what makes it special is because it's surrounded by steep hills or steep mountains, cliffs that almost reach into the water.
Totally. Yeah. And there's a sort of picturesque wooden mountain hotel with little shutters around windows with little hearts carved in them. It's extremely picturesque.
Yeah, we also have a short video and pictures, photos on our website on swissandchips.com. Head over and have a look if you're interested. It's it's nice. And like I said before, it's still time to go. But now I wonder, can you tell me a bit more, how is it like? I mean, how did you feel to go there? Is it dangerous to walk the path and so on? Or would you recommend to everyone, children, adults? Do you have to have any knowledge? Or obviously you went with a real Swiss.
Yeah, so everything was good. No, it's true, because when you say, go ice skating on a frozen lake up in the mountains, I don't know, first impression might be, sounds a bit dangerous, but it's really kind of, someone checks out that ice, so it's a very safe thing to do. The walk there is completely fine. You have to walk on snow, but it's a sort of prepared path. I don't think there's anything dangerous about it. Well, on the website they say don't take a pushchair, but we did take a pushchair with us, with some of your family, and it was absolutely fine.
Yeah,
the only thing is, walking there, you're going slightly downhill. On the way back, you're going uphill.
Yes.
So it's not a big problem, but your arms might ache a bit by the end of it.
Yes, but is it slippery or dangerous?
No, it wasn't slippery. It was totally fine. Yeah, totally fine.
And then how is it with the ice skates? Maybe you can explain a bit more.
Ooh, the ice skates. So...
do I have to bring my own and so on?
If you have your own, then by all means bring them.
Yeah.
But you can rent them there. I read on the website that they had 150 pairs of ice skates. And I personally expected big crowds of people and big queues.
Yep.
But it wasn't that at all. I mean, there were quite a few people there. But we got there about an hour and a half after it opened, after the first cable car went up. And you have to bring cash, basically, so you can pay for the ice skates, 8 francs for an adult.
Bring cash.
And the only thing I would say was an hour and a half into the first day's opening, they'd sold out of my shoe size, so I took a size bigger. Wasn't a problem. But then when we took our ice skates back, there was quite a lot of people waiting, and the guy who was renting them ran up to me and said, "Have you got ice skates to return? Thank you," and ran back with them. So
he wanted to take out my skates. I said, "That's mine, it's mine."
Yeah, and it was the first thing I did when I got there, just to make sure I had the skates. So if you don't have your own, I'd say get there early.
How about the facilities?
Yeah, well, there's a really nice hotel restaurant that overlooks it, and there's another restaurant a bit closer to the lake. They have food and everything. I mean, take cash with you, because there's a sort of stand that sells small things to eat and drinks and so on. I don't think you can pay by
restaurant,
card.
Probably in the restaurant you can,
Yeah, so they have everything you need there.
Yeah.
Basically.
So then, just to give again a small summary, you go up with the cable car.
Correct.
You pay something like...
I think it was about 14 francs for a return if you have the half fare card.
So 28 or something, probably without half tax.
Yeah, exactly.
Half tax.
Yep.
Yeah. So then you go up with the cable. First of all, you drive to Kandersteg.
Oh gosh, very important point. We're talking about the Bernese Oberland.
Oh my God. So it's in the Bernese Oberland. You go to Kandersteg. That is, from Bern in the direction to Thun, Spiez, Frutigen, and then Kandersteg.
You can also go on the train there.
Exactly. These were the train stops. And then, or you go by car, and then you go to the cable car. You go up to the top, which takes about, 5 to 10 minutes.
Yep.
And then you walk about 20 to 30 minutes. There is a small restaurant, and then you have a great view over the lake.
Yes.
And then a small path goes down to the lake, maybe another 2 minutes.
Yeah, totally.
And how is it there? What did you do?
Well, there's quite a few people who took sledges, which on reflection I think would have been a really good idea, because then you can sledge down to the lake, which looks really fun. You can't go extremely fast because there are people walking.
Yeah, this 20 to 30 minutes walk you could do with the sledge. That's a really good advice.
That would be a good idea. If I were going again, I would take a sledge for sure. Yeah, and then you just walk down to the lake, and then it has a sort of flat, area around it. And what I thought was interesting was that just on the lake edge next to the shore, they'd put out little bits of carpet and little wooden benches so that you can sit down and put your shoes on.
Yeah.
Put your ice skates on. I thought that was a really good idea.
On the lake.
Yeah, on the lake. Because I'd already thought, where am I going to put my ice skates on? I can't imagine sliding around in the ice trying to get them on, or putting them on in the snow, or who knows what. So that's all sorted, basically.
Yes.
And so it's really kind of set up for people to go. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. And then what did you see there?
Basically, there's sort of mix of people sitting around, families, couples, old
so
people,
one
all
dog
sorts.
pulling
Dogs pulling children on sledges, dogs going mad, children running around, some people playing ice hockey.
Yes.
You know, there's good skaters, rubbish skaters, people falling on their bums,
You can
etc.
also walk on the lake. You don't have to bring your ice skates if you don't want to.
Yeah, true. I'm not an amazing skater. Understatement of the day, perhaps. So I was a little bit anxious about skating. But if you go with someone who's a good skater, or at least someone who you can hold on to, or you don't mind falling over, you'll be absolutely fine.
Yes.
By the end of it, I was confident enough to skate back to safety alone, which
Yes,
was a relief.
true. Took a while, but yes.
Yeah. Or you can just
No,
walk
that's
on the ice in normal shoes and it wasn't slippery.
Yes, totally
Surprisingly
true.
enough. But
Oh yeah,
maybe
that's maybe something you should explain. So is ice always slippery? Yes or no?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? When you see it on TV, it's always people doing this kind of feet
They
running,
almost
feet
can't
running on the
stand,
spot.
right?
They can't stand on ice, but it's actually not like that at all, which is weird.
Yeah, it was a bit rough, the surface. It all depends on the surface, basically. But yeah, usually if it's flat, then ice is never really that slippery, except if if it's a bit of snow, fresh snow on it.
On top.
Then, yes, on top. Then if you're on shoes, it might be slippery. But even then, I mean, I saw today even at least 10 people falling over and no one.
They seemed
hurt.
okay.
Yeah, that's
They seemed okay, yeah. The other thing is it's
Take
absolutely-
gloves. I
yeah.
would say take gloves.
Take thick gloves.
So-
It's absolutely freezing there.
Yeah, but also if you fall over, you're a bit protected. You fall on your hands, lean a bit forward. You'll fall on your hands, and if there is a big coincidence and somebody, comes across your fingers, then they're still on. So take
Wear gloves.
I think you should wear gloves. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Anyway, so you put on your shoes and
Yeah.
your ice skates, and then you made your first step onto the
Yes.
lake. How was it?
Grab a hold of someone who's happy to have you grabbing hold of them,
Yes.
and then venture out onto the ice. Yeah, sort of mildly terrifying for the first few minutes or so.
Plus minus.
Plus or minus half an hour. And, but once you sort of stagger out into the middle, it's really amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a completely unique experience, I think, for
Yes,
most people.
Totally true, I think. Like I said before, these mountain cliffs, they come closer and closer and closer the further out you get. And if you're in the middle of the lake, sometimes you also see small black holes and, how do you say it?
Sort of
If it's broken ice.
cracks in the
Yeah,
ice.
cracks, but frozen over, but you can see small black cracks. And at the border, you see sometimes holes in the ice because some people go fishing, ice fishing.
Yeah,
and-
you can also go ice fishing there.
yeah, exactly. So it's just really magical, and there are small ice stars on top and snowflakes.
Yeah,
and,
kind of crystals of ice flakes.
yeah,
to describe
exactly.
that.
Yeah, so it's really a great experience. I think.
Once you find yourself
Also
standing
for
in the middle of
Swiss
that frozen
and-
lake
yeah.
and looking around, that's nothing like
And
it. Really,
I
is there?
think every Swiss should once go, and many that I know that they have been. It's a very Swiss thing to do. It's magical for the Swiss, and I am sure it's also nice for tourists or expats.
I 100% agree.
So yeah, I think that's more or less it. Do you have any special recommendations that people should think about? I mean, bring gloves, wear warm clothes because it's very shadowy. That's also why it's frozen. One reason why it's frozen. And
I would also say if you can take one of those portable hand warmers to put in your gloves
Oh,
after you've been
yeah.
ice skating,
Yeah,
that is a
true.
great idea because my hands were absolutely freezing by the end of it.
there is a shop at the bottom of the
Cable car.
where you can buy all these things if you want to.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, the only thing left to say really is just go for it. It's awesome.
And I think, bring cash. And also what I thought is the restaurants, as all restaurants in the mountain are just quite super expensive. So either the restaurant, although it was very good, I think, but I would recommend to bring some picnic. Bring some hot tea.
Yeah, that would be
bring
nice.
some small food with you, because then you can just have your food on the lake if you want to, or on the side of the lake in the snow, or wherever you like. There's so much space, and I think it's totally worth to spend there a few hours.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think the last question for me is, what would you say? I'm the first time in Switzerland, or not for very long in Switzerland, and not much experience with anything. So can I go or not? Can I go alone or not?
Oh, you can 100% go alone. Totally.
Thanks, good. So see ya.
I'd rather go with you, but whatever.
No, I think it's totally true. I also think it, because for me as a Swiss, I think it's totally safe, 110%.
Oh, yeah.
So you can totally go alone.
If I were visiting Switzerland on my own and I heard about this, I would 100% recommend to go.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. And that's the kind of thing that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, so go.
Yeah, go.
Go and let
What
us
are you
know
waiting for?
if you have been. Then if you have been there, or if you go, let us know. It'd be great. Just write to us, write an email, come to our website swissandchips.com, or in our Facebook group,
Switzerland for English speakers.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And with that, there is not much more to say than
Happy New Year!
Yes, exactly. Happy New Year.